After 6 months of a nationwide crusade against migrants that's been so aggressive that there's apparently no time for due process or following the orders of judges or the acknowledgement of the Constitution, just having this laser sharp focus on getting out violent criminals, deporting them instantly. After all of that, Donald Trump and his administration, while spending billions of dollars, has arrested and detained a very, very tiny fraction of the supposedly well-known murderers and rapists that they've been talking about. So they have this list of actual violent migrants. Can't seem to round them up. They just can't seem to actually go for those people. I guess they're just too busy going to El Pollo Loco and Home Depot and all of that. Weird that they're not finding the murderous migrants with this strategy of theirs. And I want to break down the numbers and then talk about what they're actually doing with the power they're seizing. So of every person booked by ICE from October 1st through May 31st. So part of this is the Trump administration, part of this is back under Biden. It shows a total of 185,000 people being arrested and booked in ICE facilities during that time. Less than 1 in 3 have been convicted of crimes. And even of those, the most common crimes are immigration crimes and traffic offenses. So there, and I know that we've reminded you of this many times over the last few months. We have to constantly fight back against the idea that this is about the worst of the worst. This is about the lowest common denominator. Get literally any migrant so we can juice the numbers, even if they've never been convicted or even accused of anything. Almost half of the people that are right now in ICE custody have neither been convicted of nor charged with any crime. They haven't even been accused of the immigration or traffic offenses. They're just migrants, that's it. And by the way, to return to the serious ones, the actual worst of the worst, if you believe ICE and DHS, last fall, ICE told Congress that 13,099 people convicted of homicide and nearly 16,000 people convicted of sexual assault were on its non-detained docket. There, they mean people convicted of sexual assault who are migrants. They're not talking about like people who were found liable for sexual abuse and became president. They're not talking about that. They're talking about migrants. Anyway, meaning that they know who these people are, but they don't have them in custody. So this isn't like Trump saying 75% of murderers. They're saying we have a list of the murderers, okay? And now they've been given free reign and endless money by Donald Trump and months to round up these people from the actual list they have. And Trump takes this very seriously, by the way, or at least he did back when he was running for office. He used those numbers to attack Kamala Harris, saying these are hard, tough, vicious criminals that are free to roam in our country. Because it was wrong of the Biden administration to allow them to walk free, to not be rounded up. And I ask you, is it equally wrong that it's been months and Trump can't seem to round them up either? When that is the main thing he campaigned on? I would say it's worse actually, because you could say that Biden is just a sleepy clone robot lizard. You can't have any standards for him, but Trump's a warrior who's gonna protect you and your family, and yet he can't seem to get it done. And so what have they actually done off of this list? Well, the new data obtained by NBC News shows that from October 1st to May 31st. So to be clear, these are not all Trump arrests. The majority of these months were Joe Biden. ICE arrested 752 people convicted of homicide and close to 2,000 people convicted of sexual assault, meaning that at the absolute most, the Trump administration has detained only 6% of those on the actual list for homicide and 11% of those on the list for sexual assault. And NBC News is again being way too giving to Trump. The best case scenario is not that Trump has detained 6 and 11%. The best case scenario was that Biden and Trump over that 6-month period did 6 and 11%. Trump did less even than that. And when this was pointed out to them, they got super defensive. One of the spokespeople for DHS said, the premise of your question relies on inaccurate data. Kristi Noem has unleashed the ICE to target the worst of the worst, including gang members, murderers, and rapists. In President Trump's first 100 days, 75% of ICE arrests were criminal illegal aliens with convictions or pending charges. And again, she's playing the same game there that they have been the entire time. She's talking about people who have immigration offenses, people who have traffic offenses, not murderers, not rapists, not people who destroyed buildings or set fires or anything like that. And I don't even believe her numbers even then, but she's simply lying to you. And again, if ICE has been unleashed, why is it that the vast majority of that list of murderers and rapists that you have been sitting on and that you campaigned against are still walking free? When are you gonna get the actual worst of the worst? Because all you've gotten is people who hang drywall and people who clean dishes and people who sew clothes. Those are the people you've been deporting. Okay, now what are they doing? They're ignoring the murderers supposedly that are out there, and they're expanding the zones on the border where the military can now detain migrants on our southern border. There are now 4 of those zones around military bases. It is hundreds of miles where the US military is now deputized to conduct arrests. Now, we talked about the Posse Comitatus Act in the LA context, that the military is not supposed to be engaging in arresting American citizens and doing that sort of thing. They are for foreign wars. Now, it's not just LA. This is hundreds of miles of the border, many of them in red states where they are free to arrest and detain people if they want to, because they are now pretending that hundreds of miles of our border are military bases when they're obviously not. And where's Alex Jones? Where's the New World Order people? Where are the people worried about camps and worried about, the Tree of Liberty needing to be watered with the blood of tyrants or whatever? They don't care at all about this, that the Constitution and the law is being violated.